Good evening, my friends, and welcome back. Cumberland Outdoorsman here with you, out here in the woods, my favorite place to be. And today I brought my day pack with me, as I normally always do, whether I'm hunting or scouting or just out in the woods doing some trail hiking. And some of the things I carry with me are a flashlight, some 550 cord, a pair of these cutters, snippers, a fire starting kit, a pair of binoculars, but probably most importantly, I carry a good knife with me. Now, normally I carry a Case Stockman. This is my everyday carry, and they're great knives. Everybody knows about the legendary quality of Case XX steel, and it's XX hardened. You can get these knives razor sharp and they hold an edge really well. I sharpened this one here about a week ago or so, and it still slices with no effort. I've been using this one at work mostly, and it has 3 blades on it. Very good knife to carry as an everyday carry, because it's just so useful. But I'll be honest with you, I would hate to lose that knife, because these older Case knives like this one here, this is a 1980 model, have become pretty much collector's items, and it would just break my heart to lose that knife right there. And the value has really gone up in recent years. Now recently I took note of some knives that have come out, and one in particular has captured my attention, as it has many other folks. And it's something that's relatively inexpensive, and it was widely available until just recently. And I'll give you a few hints before I tell you what it is, and see if you can guess it before I tell you. Hint number 1, it's available, or it was available, at Walmart. It's taken the internet by storm, pretty much. Let's see, it sells for around $10, and this one here will probably give it away more than anything. It's orange. If you guessed the Ozark trail knife, like the one I've got here, then you were right. These little knives have become so popular lately. I've checked at 8 different Walmarts, and they're completely out of stock, except for one Walmart that still has it in their display case. They've got one left, and they won't sell it because they have a policy that they don't sell display case knives until they become totally unavailable. So that tells me that eventually they'll get more of these in stock. But I can tell you for sure that once they come into stock, they won't stay on the shelves very long, because so many people are looking for one of these Ozark Trail folding knives. And the reason being is because of the quality. They're a great value for the amount of money that they're asking for these knives. And I've got a listing here showing one of the knives on display. But now, if you're like me and you can't find one of these knives locally, you can still buy one on eBay, like I did this one here. It'll cost you a little bit more. I think I gave $20 for this one, which is still not bad, 20 bucks. But the reason they have become so popular is because of all the features that they have. They're an axis lock or slide lock, and you'll watch that blade drop as soon as I pull back on that lock. They've got great action. Just wonderful action. They're easy to use. They open just with the flick of your thumb, or you can use your finger on the other side if you prefer, just like that, And they have a nice clip here on the side, a nice pocket clip that is relatively long, but I really like that because you can carry it right against the seam of your pocket. It's tip up, but it has a good detent, so the blade should stay closed on you very well. And you really need to carry this knife with the blade facing towards the seam of your pocket, because if you carry it any other way and that blade should open and then you reach in your pocket to get that knife, well, what have you got? You've got an open blade, and as sharp as these come from the factory, you know, you're going to cut your hand wide open. So you need to carry these knives in a way that the blade will stay shut until you get ready to open it. Now, speaking of the blade itself, it's advertised as D2 steel, and from the package they come out razor sharp. I mean, enough to take the hair right off your arm. Now, I've been carrying this one for about a week and a half, and I've had to sharpen it once. So it got sharp. Once again, I use a diamond stick, and I carry it with me in my day pack. I think I've showed you this before. And what this is a blade or a stick here that's coated in diamond dust, okay? And it's really fine, and you can get a good sharp edge on any knife with this right here, because diamonds are the hardest substance known to man, and it'll put a nice keen edge on any kind of steel. Then when you're done, you can use the handle here as the carry case. This one here is made by Kershaw, and if I find a link to this, I'll include it in the video, because it's a really handy little item. It's lightweight, easy to carry in your date pack or in your pocket, you know, or maybe your camping supplies or whatever, but very useful. But like I said, this is D2 steel, and as far as I can tell, they've tempered it just about to perfection, in my opinion, because it's hard enough to retain a good edge, and yet not so hard that it's really brittle, because you can over temper steel to where it's glass-like, and the slightest bit of pressure you put on it, the blade starts chipping. And I think a lot of you know what I'm talking about. You know, it's just too hard to actually be strong enough to stay together. And like I said, this knife here, I've sharpened it since I've gotten it, and I mean, it's just slices with ease. You know, you can get nice thin ribbons just like that. Super sharp. And you can also just take the point of the blade and stick it in, and just from the get-go get nice slicing action. And the reason I mention that is because that knife should be razor sharp from the tip all the way to the heel of the blade there. So, you know, these knives, for the amount of money that they're asking for these, now I don't know if they'll go up in price because of demand. You know, a lot of times that'll dictate the price, but I can guarantee you when they hit the shelves again, they won't last long, because they didn't the first time. And if and when they come back into stock, I'll post another video and let you all know when they're available. That way you can rush to your local Walmart and go pick one, maybe 2 or 3 of them up. Now, one of the main reasons that they've become so unavailable is because there have been certain individuals that have gone out and bought a lot of these knives, and then they turn around and put them on the website and sell them for a profit. Now, normally I don't have anything against that, because I mean, it's your choice whether you buy it or not, but I kind of look down upon that, because the last time I checked how many one person bought, they got 37 of these knives, and they completely depleted the supply out of that particular Walmart which knocked 37 other people out of getting one of these knives at a good value, you know, a good price, just so that they could make a profit off of it. I don't agree with that, because I think that, you know, people should have the chance to get a good value when it's available. Just saying. Now, if you can't get one of these right now, you know, if you want to wait until they're back in stock, or you want something similar to this, I did find this right here on Temu. This is an SOG. A lot of folks know what SOG knives are, and it's very much the same. It also has the axis lock right here, you know, that unlocks the blade. It has D2 steel. It's a nice bright orange, which I kind of like. It's kind of grown on me a little bit, and the reason I like this brighter orange or brighter colors is in case you drop this knife in the woods, whether you're on a trail hiking, or if you're tracking a deer, or if you're just out hunting and you happen to lose your knife, you can go back and retrace your steps, and that'll show up very easily against the forest floor. You know, if you can go back and retrace your steps, you should be able to find this knife, as well as this one here. You know, it's a nice bright orange. It's not quite as bright as this one, but it's still visible enough so that you should be able to recover your knife. But this one here opens up just about as easily as the Ozark Trail knife, and you can swing it shut. Another thing I really like about this little knife, it's ambidextrous. You can move the clip either from the left to the right side or vice versa. It also has steel liners inside the handle. It kind of has that Benchmade bug out look, although it feels heavier and more solid to me, just like the Ozark Trail does, than the Benchmade bug out. But it has this axis lock that is very positive locking, but it also has another feature here. I like the end of the blade right here that sticks up. You can use this to flip the blade open, just like that. And it also adds a little bit more safety right here when you're holding the knife, so that your hand doesn't slip over the handle and onto the blade. You know, it's kind of like a hand guard that extends down even further. Now the blades on these are pretty close. The Ozark Trail's a little bit longer, as you can see. You know, just a tad bit longer. But the features are pretty much the same. This one here has jimping right here on the back of the blade so that your thumb won't slip over the edge of the blade here. Whereas the Ozark Trail has some jimping right here on the handle and on the blade, and down here at the heel of the handle. So, you know, it feels really substantial in your hand. I like the way this knife feels in my hand, and it's just a good rugged little knife. And from carrying it both at work and out here in the woods, I can tell you it's held up very well. Tell you what, I've got a good hard piece of maple right here. I'll whittle down on this a little bit and we'll see how well it retains that razor edge. This is dried wood, this is not green. And we all know how hard maple can get. They make cutting boards, knife handles, good furniture, things like that out of maple. It's a premium hardwood, and this stuff is really tough, let me tell you. So I'm putting a lot of pressure right now on this blade, whittling through this piece of maple. So let's see how well it retained the edge here. Look at that, still razor sharp. Okay, let's see if it'll do the stab test. No problem. I'm telling you, this is good steel in this little knife right here. So we'll check the SOG as well. I'll go all the way around just like I did with the Ozark Trail. and whittle this hard piece of maple down to a point. Now, razor sharp. SOG knives are made in Japan, Taiwan, China, and the USA. Now, I don't know where this one here was made, but I found this one on Temu for about $12. And I've seen listings of these go as high as $60 on other sites. So that tells me that somebody's just making a lot of money off of them. But the quality is really good. It's a very solid little knife. There's just a tiny bit of blade wobble here, not much. But this way, there's none whatsoever. Action is really good. You know, it's just a good functioning little knife. You can use it with one hand. It's fairly slim, so it won't take up much room. Now there's 3 different ways of opening this blade. One is with the thumb stud here, just like that, just like the Ozark Trail. You can pull down on the axis lock and flip it open, just like that. Or you can use the heel of this knife here that protrudes from the back of the knife. It has a little bit of texture right there, so that you can grab that and just flip it open, just like that. Great little knife, you know, really good knife. If you can't find the Ozark Trail and you want one that's very close to it, then check Temu. Now, I don't get paid by any of the people that make these knives. I'm just showing you a good value. You don't have to go out and spend $150 or $200 on a Benchmade knife to get a pretty decent knife. You know, Benchmade makes that bug out knife that everybody likes, and I've got one here that is a very close clone to that knife right here. I gave $20 for this one here on Amazon. It's also an axis lock. Works very, very smoothly. I mean, a good smooth operating little knife. Has the thumb stud. Or you can just flip it open by pulling down on the axis lock, just like that. And you can close it with one hand, just like the other two. Has a very nice little clip here on the side. And this one here is also ambidextrous, just like the SOG. You can change sides here. This one here is set up for a right-handed user because you'll slip this into your right pocket, and the blade, once again, should be against the seam of your pocket to keep that blade shut, so that when you reach in, you just grab it here and then pull it out. You know, that's important as well. So let's check for the sharpness of this knife. See how sharp this little blade is now. Razor sharp. Okay, check this one here real quick. Still razor sharp. You know, for a cheaper knife, that's a good value. I mean, really. The only thing I don't like so much about this one here is that the handle is a little bit more flexible. It's a lot like the Benchmade. Benchmade's a little bit more sturdy than this handle, but this is glass impregnated polymer. But yet I can take it and I can squeeze it together like that. I think you can see that. So it's a little bit flexible when you're using it on hard wood like this. You know, if you're really putting a lot of pressure. But, you know, nothing you can't live without. I can feel it flexing just a little bit. It's twisting a little bit in my hand. Whereas the Ozark Trail, it doesn't do any twisting at all because it has those dual steel liners that go from one end of the handle all the way to the other. And one thing I like about this particular Ozark Trail is it centers up pretty nicely, as you can see there when it's closed. And the SOG does also. Very well centered. I think you can see that. And so does this one here. I think this one here is sold under the brand of Goshawk. So if you type in Axis folding knife Goshawk on Amazon, you should be able to find this knife. And I think they come in different colors. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's gotten a little bit darker out here now. I wanted to wait until later in the evening, and I'm going to toss these knives out into the woods here, and we'll see how quickly we can pick them up, just to show you that that bright orange color will show up against the forest floor. So let's perform that little test, and then I'll close out the video. First, the Ozark Trail. I'm not even going to look where I'm throwing it. I'm just going to toss these out in the woods. Yes, even this red one here. That one didn't go far enough. Okay. I don't know where they landed. They're out here somewhere. I heard them hit, but I don't know exactly where. So let's go look for them. I threw that Ozark Trail over here somewhere. Don't know where. I heard it hit the ground. This is just like as if I lost this knife and I didn't know where to look to find it. Okay, there it is right there. The blade opened up, but still I was able to pick up that orange right there. Okay, so throw it in the woods. And even in this lower light that we have this evening, I can still pick out that orange. That's one thing I've noticed about this one here, and a lot of them are like this. One side of the handle is a little bit duller orange than the other. I think you can see that. I think the camera will pick that up. So if it were to land that way, you can see how that would really show up against the dirt and the leaves on the forest floor. All right, let's see if we can find the Benchmade Bug Out Clone. It's red, so it's going to be a little bit harder to find. Don't know where it landed. Hope I don't lose my knife, but should be able to find it pretty easily. Okay, I can see the SOG knife all the way from here. I picked it up right away. See that bright orange? Boy, it really showed up quick. Well, and there's a red knife. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to look where I throw this knife, but I'm just going to toss it over my shoulder here. Okay, let's go pick up this knife and then we'll look for that other one. That wasn't fair because I found it on the way to finding this one here. That right there will show up very well. That's why I like that bright color. It's like blaze orange, you know. You should be able to pick that out pretty easily. Okay. Now, once again, let's see if we can find that red knife. The sun's already gone down over the trees, so it's a little bit darker back here. And I threw it. Okay, there it is. I just happened to look down and there it was. So even that red color right there is going to show up, you know. I would say if you have a knife that's black or maybe OD green, it's going to be tougher to find. And that's why I kind of like these brighter colored knives. Well, my friends, here I am the following afternoon from the test that I just performed, where I threw these knives out in the woods to see how quickly I could pick them up. And I wanted to talk about the internal structure a little bit about these knives. I took each one of them apart, taking the pivot pin here out to see, you know, what is holding them together and why I think they're a great value, especially for the money that you pay. Honestly, I don't see how they can sell this knife for $10, you know, because when I took the blade out and looked at everything that holds this together, there's dual springs here on the lock, on this axis lock. There's a spring on each side, and it's all steel construction. The blade itself is riding on a set of bearings on each side, not bushings, not washers, bearings. And I guess that's why it's so smooth operating, you know. It's just so easy to open, and it closes so smoothly. To me, you know, this knife would be worth more money, honestly. And like I said, it just feels very solid in your hand and while you're using it. And like I mentioned, you know, it locks up very positively. Let's see if I can get that close up there. There you can see the lock there engaging the back of the blade here, and I mean it locks up tight. There's no wobble. It's just amazing to me how well this little knife is made. And then I took this knife apart. This is the SOG, and honestly this one here has more features than the Ozark Trail. And the fact that I gave $12 for this knife still blows me away, you know. I took the pivot pin out, and when I took the blade out, to my pleasant surprise, it also is mounted on a set of bearings. No washers, no bushings, bearings. And I'll tell you what, the more I look at it, the more I like this one better than the other two. I think this is a great value right here. And I checked on some of the other sites, like I mentioned, and quite honestly, you know, they sell for a lot more in other places. But I was able to get this knife through Temu for right at $12. So today I called my wife and I told her, get me 2 more. And they're on the way right now. I got another one in orange and one in OD green as well. So I'll be reviewing those knives when they come in. And hopefully I won't have to wait too long, but I think they said 3 to 7 days. And that's okay. I mean, I'm not in any hurry. But I wanted to feature this little knife because to me it reminded me so much of this one here. So, you know, not just because of the color, but because of the shape of the blade. You know, the way these blades are made, and just the overall design of the knife, you know, the way it looks, the length of it. It's just a great knife. You know, I can't say enough about it. Now this one does not have a lanyard hole the same way this one here does, which I don't care. I mean, I normally don't put a lanyard on it, but you can put a lanyard right through that loop right there if you wanted to, you know. So both of these knives, I think, are going to see quite a bit of service this year and hopefully in the years to come. And this little knife here, to me, is a perfect carry knife for work, because like I said earlier, you know, it's so lightweight, it's so thin in profile that you don't even know you've got it in your pocket. And it's got some great steel in the blade. And you know, you can carry a Benchmade bug out, and if you want to spend the money, you can get you one of those. They're great knives, not taking anything away from them, but you know, for a lot less money you can get a pretty good knife that I think would serve you quite well. Well guys, today during my lunch hour I went to my local Walmart Supercenter, the one that was closest to where I work, and I went to the sporting goods department, and I was fortunate enough to be able to talk to the department manager over sporting goods in regards to these Ozark Trail knives. And I asked a few questions, you know, are these ever going to come back? Are they on order? Are they being discontinued? And she said that she's got 12 of these on order, and the order was confirmed. So apparently they're coming back. You just have to wait until they come in. And then I asked her, I said, well, what kind of timeline are we talking about? You know, is it going to be next week, next month? She said they could be on the truck tonight, you know. Need to check back every day. And as soon as they are available once again, I'll let you folks know that at least my Walmart has them in stock again. Well guys, I know there's a lot of you that would like to have one of these knives, and I promise you, as soon as they hit the shelves again, I will post a video that day. Because, I mean, if you've ever looked for one of these, maybe you were lucky enough to find one, but here lately, I can relate it to a movie that I watched a few years back. You remember Avatar, the movie Avatar? If you recall, they were looking for a mineral on that foreign world. I think that place was called Pandora. There was something called unobtainium. Well, that's what these little knives have become. They're like unobtainium. You just can't get them, can't get your hands on them. But as soon as they come back in stock, I promise you, like I said, I will post a video notifying you to hurry up and go to your Walmart and pick one up. So, you know, that's one of those things that I think I can do for my viewers, and I think you would appreciate it if you can pick one of these up, because they're great little knives. So thanks a lot for coming along. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you got some useful information. Like I said, you don't have to spend a lot of money to get a pretty good knife, you know, a good decent blade that will last you a long time, that'll hold an edge and serve you well in the outdoors, or just in everyday carry. So remember, if you like to go hunting, fishing, camping, shooting, hiking, no matter what your outdoor pursuit happens to be, I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. But also remember this, hit that like button, smash that bell icon, and subscribe. That way you'll know when more videos like this one will be coming your way. So until next time, y'all take good care of yourselves and get out there and enjoy the great outdoors. I'll be seeing you.